Yeah, it's up.
Yeah.
Okay, well here we are again, everybody, for another edition of Sci-Fi Model Action Live Hangout. We've got a great group of modelers here with us again this week, and we're in our brand new time slot for our first episode on Saturdays. We're coming to you guys now at 2 p.m. Central Time, USA time, and hopefully this will help out some of our modeling friends over in Europe to be able to attend. I'm going to start off with our usual here and go to my extreme left and start introducing everybody. First, we've got Andrew, or Andy. How are you doing today, Andy?
How is everybody?
Good. Doing good, Andy.
Doing great. Glad you could join us today, Andy. We'll come back and see what you're working on here in a little bit. And up next, we've got Andy number 2. We've got 2 Andys with us today. How are you doing,
Hey,
Andy?
guys.
Introduce
I'm great,
yourself
thanks,
and
Boyd.
tell us where you're from.
I'm from England. I'm new to the Google Plus groups. Been hanging around now for about a month or two. Yeah, it's great to finally share the craft with other people. It's been quite a solitary hobby for a little while. So yeah, it's nice to get to meet other people.
All right, glad to have you on with us today, Andy. And up next, we've got our good friend Armando de la Cabada, who you can see he's mobile today. Armando, back up your camera a little bit and show us what you're wearing.
Got my scrubs on. Oops.
Yep. Armando is showing us that it's important to be sterile and clean when you're working on your models. You know, you don't want to get any dirt or crap in your paint. And
That's right.
very
That's right.
important step.
These are my my modeling scrubs.
I got to get me a
Actually,
pair of them.
I'm coming at you guys from a remote location today. I'm about to do some surgery, so I won't be able to stay very long. But my name's Armando de la Cabada, and in South Florida, as you can see from the beautiful vegetation and the beautiful gray skies that are about to rain down on me. And I do models. I have a model channel called DLC Model Builders. You guys check it out on YouTube. Unfortunately, I don't have any models with me today. They're all in my garage at home. But hopefully next time I can show them to you. And I'm happy to be here, if only for a couple minutes anyway.
We're glad to have you with us, Armando. And up next, we've got Bob Busking. How you doing tonight, Bob? Or today, actually. I got to get used to this time change myself. I'm only seeing. Are you guys seeing any video on Bob? I just see his.
No, all I see is the logo. Yeah,
No, just as an icon.
Okay, we'll come back to Bob then. Next, we've got David Hale. How you doing today, Dave?
I'm doing pretty good. How you guys doing?
Wonderful.
I'm David Hale, and I'm currently working on a 1,000 scale Reliant.
That must be the new 1,000 scale Reliant, huh?
It is. Anybody know when the Aztec's going to be up for this thing?
A couple guys were talking about the other night. I'm not sure. Hopefully pretty soon.
Because I have the I was checking, maybe you can see here. I thought about using that because it was an extra one I had left over.
Yeah, it's a mystery to me why they chose to release the decals separate. Well, it's not a mystery. They're trying to make money, but I don't know why they didn't include the decals with the kit like they did the 1,000 scale refit.
Yeah.
But I guess that's how it goes. Okay, Dave, we'll come back to you and have you show us what you're working on here in a little bit. And up next, we've got John. How are you doing today, John?
There we go. I'm doing medium. Actually, I'm doing quite well. So I brought in, I'm working on the Enterprise refit, and I brought that in, and I brought a few more pieces of the train. You guys seem interested in that, so I brought some more to show on that.
Nice. Yeah, that was a beautiful piece you were showing us last time. And next we've got Liam all the way from Europe as well. Liam, you're in, I forget, Scotland or Ireland?
Oh, dear. I want to be insulted. In Ireland, Boyd, in Ireland.
Ah, yeah. Okay. Sorry about that, Liam.
In the far north of Ireland, so although it's we're almost getting Florida weather at the minute. It's very grey, very humid, very oppressive, so I can share that with Armando. just want to say, Boyd, thanks for organising the change in time, because all of us over here always want to join in with yourselves, but the time's always been an issue. So really, everyone really appreciates the schedule change or the additional session. Fantastic. Hope it goes well.
Well, we're glad to have you on, Liam, and hopefully a lot of the other guys from Europe can join us as well too. This new time change should help out with that quite a bit. We'll come back and talk to you and see what you're working on there. I see your big X-wing in the background, Liam. That looks beautiful. Up next, we've got Tag coming to us from, he'll probably tell us beautiful, sunny California.
That's true. I'm Tag, and I am from beautiful, sunny California, San Jose, Northern California. And I haven't been able to work on anything the last couple of days. I threw my back out, so sitting and laying down is about all I've been able to do for several days. But I'm glad to be here, and I'm glad to see all these news guys here too. Welcome.
Yep, that's really cool. We're glad to have you guys with us. And let's talk to our good friend Ralph Tenaglia with Tenant Controls next. How you doing today, Ralph?
I'm doing well. Very overcast skies here in Massachusetts, but other than that, I'm glad to be aboard and talking to our international folks here. And anything I can answer will be exceptional.
Okay. Well, what are you getting ready for Halloween there in the background, Ralph? What's up with the plastic pumpkin?
Oh, that's my daughter. I'm down here in the office downstairs at home, and it's we got adult kids that moved back in, so we got things all over the place here. I used to have a nice office, but now we got everything thrown in here, from pictures, and you guys can see in the background, to everything else. But hey, someday they'll be gone again. But they're fun to have around. But we just need a bigger house. That's all. Yeah, sure they are.
All right, Ralph, we'll get back to you here in a little bit and talk to you about some of the project you've got going on, and hopefully we'll get some questions coming in here.
Sure.
I'll just introduce myself again real quick. Boyd Crompton. I operate the Sci-Fi Model Action forums and the YouTube channel TrekWorks, and I'm glad to be here with you guys today. Let's swing back over to Andy and see what Andy's been working on. I got see a bunch of beautiful models in the background there, Andy. I love that Cylon there up on the top.
Yeah, so I love that kit. I want another one. But at the moment, I'm working on JJ.
Ah, yes.
So,
beautiful lighting on that.
Before, but not as extensive. I didn't do many lights and things, and even like the registry lights in the back. I need to dim them down a bit more. But yeah, it's a good kit. It's a few little things that need a lot of work. But yeah, I've been at this one a few months now with Andy as well. He's built them on at the same time as me. But it's coming together slowly. So I finally got hold of the transfer paints that you use, boys.
Excellent. Are you able to get those in the UK? You're getting the regular ones or the water-based ones, Andy?
Well, the silver label. I think the gold label one.
Yeah, that would be the water-based. Yeah.
Water-based. Did a test shoot and it looked fine. I'm so happy. So get a lot of models out of it. Get a lot of models out of it.
Yeah, that 4 ounce will go a long way. When you start spraying it, you realize that you just barely have to spray any on there at all.
Yeah, well, on my test shoot, I went quite heavy on one. Then I tried it again, and it felt like I wasn't even putting paint down, but it came out lovely. So.
Right. Yeah, one of the things one of the tips that I like to give people about those, Andy, is when you're spraying that stuff on, you mainly want to look at the masks, the surrounding area, because just like you said, when you're spraying that paint on the surface, you can't see it, and it's easy to start getting it on there too thick. But if you look at your mask, you can see your overspray, and you can kind of tell how much is getting on there.
Yeah, it was. I did a little Aztec pattern on a piece of styrene, and you keep having to look at the angle and trying to get it right, and you don't notice it's coming out, but it's damn good stuff. Yeah.
You'll find yourself staring at your work for hours when you're done with it, Andy, when you see how beautiful that looks when it all starts coming together.
A week. just playing at it, just admiring it. Just want to get it on the model now.
Yeah, I always try to think about how that big 8-foot Enterprise model, the studio model, must have looked. I've talked to Paul Olson about that, and he said that there's just no way that words can describe when he first finished it and saw it lit up with the when they lit it professionally. You know, he was working on it in a shop with fluorescent lights, but when they moved it in and they had the professionals light it, he said everybody's jaw hit the floor. It was just fantastic. So that's really cool. Do you have any tips or opinions you just want to give us about that kit you're working on there, Andy, as far as anybody thinking about building that? How are the seams and the fit and the plastic and all that on the kit?
Well, the saucer, top and bottom, go together lovely. I don't think there'll be much seam work on the saucer as such. However, the amount of lighting, I mean, my friend Andy there, he'll concur with doing this. The amount of cable and lighting we've put in it's ridiculous. I'm hoping it does close. But we've literally taken 3 months or more. Every spotlight where it should be, every marker light, every triple flash, double flash, everything to make it as accurate as possible. And I mean, I was laughing about it the other day because actual kit parts glued together 3 months later is like zero. It's just working on etch, wiring, actually out of the box parts that are glued together yet it's still like none. So,
and I noticed you're using the photo etch parts kit for that too. That's the Paragraphics kit. How do you like that?
Yeah, it's lovely. I even got some people on the bridge. However, you won't see the bridge. Shuttle bay's nice. It's nice photo etch. I did want to do the refit engine on it, but it's a lot of cutting and a lot of messing. I'm going to stick with the 2009 version.
Mm-hmm. Great.
But,
how does the shuttle bay fit into it, Andy? Is there much modification you need to do to the parts, or does it fit right in there?
Well, as you can see, that's the top bit. You can literally fit this together and then just drop it in and push it back, which is fine. But where the steam is, it needs to be filled because you can have the edge lights lit up. But where you're filling, we're talking 2 areas thin as a pin that you've got a seam in between, so that is going to probably drive me crazy. But it just drops and slides back, so you don't have to put it in until you're ready to put the roof on. You know, there's no worries about it being damaged or anything. You can have it all set up and then just it's well designed.
Very nice. Now, what are you going to be using to light the engines on that thing, Andy? You doing your own thing, or are you doing the motorized, or?
In doing the motors, I've been trying to find some quiet motors, the same as Andy. Really quiet motors, but all geared motors are noisy. So we've found another place in the UK that sell them. They do sell silent motors that run at about 78, 80 RPM. Or in dollars, they're like probably about $65 each. So it's a lot of money for 2 motors.
Right.
It's near pushing £100 for 2 motors, and the kit's £20. So, but we'll see. I'll be lighting them using the photo etch stones, some SMDs in there to try and hide the bulb so it just glows.
Right. Yeah, it's something that comes up quite a bit. We spend more money on the aftermarket parts than we do on the basic kit by far.
Yeah.
Well, £20 for the kit, and then 30 for the etch, 40 for the polytranspar paint, and then you already spent 3 times as much for getting your electrics, for getting anything else.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, it's the aftermarket that's the dear part, but.
All right. Well, thanks for sharing that with us, Andy. Looking forward to your updates. I know you're posting pictures over at the Google Plus forum, so you guys can check that out over there. I'm going to go to the...
Over and over.
Thanks for sharing that, Andy. I'm going to go to Andy number 2 now and see what he's got working on his bench.
Hey, yeah, so as Andy said, we're doing a dual build of the JJ prize. So we're kind of like progressing at the same sort of speed, and it's going well. but as you said, there's so much wiring on this thing. This is probably my biggest build, the most complex thing I've ever built. We wanted to do the lighting right, so we stupidly decided that we were just going to put every spotlight using the 1mm or 1.5mm SMDs, tower LEDs, 3mm, 5mm. But to do that, I've always wanted to learn Arduino programming, so I have basically taught myself, and I've written a sketch which pretty much does the entire lighting setup for the JJ Prize. We've got the double flash, which we can adjust the delay on. We've got the single flash, which ramps up and ramps down rather than to just flick on and flick off. Impulse engines, which has got like a nice random effect to it. The triple flash, which goes in the pylon backs. Yeah, there's going to be close, I would imagine, 100 LEDs, and then you've got all the SMD tape as well. It's insane. We're stupid to do it, but it looks amazing and it's so much fun. I've never had this much fun doing the model. So this is kind of where we're at the minute. This is the
Oh, that
bottom.
looks great. Look at the floodlight effect on that. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Nice little tip I learnt there. They're flat LEDs. So they're like about 2mm thick by 5mm. They're square. And if you notch like a file, a little V, it gives you that nice splayed effect.
Oh, wow.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, came across it by accident, and yeah, great effect. We've also got, didn't show you this, but I don't know if you can see, got the Arduino hooked up to a button, well, one button at the minute, but it will be two, and we've got little phaser firing effects. So we've got two different sets of LEDs there to kind of offset and give a little bit of randomness. The photon torpedo will do the same thing. That's going to flash a couple of times. Yeah, kind of looking forward to getting the saucer put together this weekend, maybe, and then on to the secondary hull. It's
Very
a
nice.
long build, and we've got a long way to go.
Right. Well, we can't wait to see that all coming together. One little bit of a warning I'll give you guys about that kit is don't try to put the saucer onto the neck for a test fit, because the first time you
Yeah.
put it on, it's staying on.
I've heard. I don't know whether anybody has actually done this, but would it be wise to put the saucer together before you've got the secondary hull done? Is it a tough fit if the saucer's together?
The saucer on that model fits so good that there's barely a seam on it. It's entirely up to you, I would imagine. What do you guys think? I mean, you have to have your wire harness coming out of there with some kind of a connectors or something on there, so you can just connect it together to the rest of it. But
Yeah, we just didn't know whether it was going to be hard to marry the two bits together should the saucer be, sealed, or whether it's going to like break the saucer apart. How much force we need to actually put the two bits together.
it's kind of tight, but what I always do, what I have been doing a lot lately, is all those pins on the models that I've been working with, I'll take my Dremel tool with like a little knurling tool attachment on there, and I'll open up those holes just a little bit.
Yeah.
I mean, you're going to glue it anyway, and so there's no need to have that really super tight kind of tapered, pressure fit, and that'll save you a whole lot of grief when you're, like you said, when you've got it all put together and you're trying to force something on there and you're cracking stuff and cracking your putty and everything. It's best to just open up those holes just a little bit before you even do any of that, because no matter what, it seems like we always get a little bit of primer in there or a little bit of paint or something, and that makes it fit even tighter,
Yep. Cool.
All right. Well, thanks for showing us that one too, Andy. And we're looking forward to seeing both of those build-ups coming together. They look like they're going to be beautiful models. And we've got Bob Busking that made it back in here. How you doing today, Bob?
Hey everybody. How you doing today?
Hey,
Good.
Bob.
Wonderful.
Working
We
on
already
my
went around with the introductions. Bob, what do you got working on your bench today?
working on the space shuttle still. Got the cargo bay doors on. Got the big gaps filled around on it, so it's ready for primer. And
Nice.
I got my 144 scale F5 that I'm converting to a T38 for a chase plane to go with it.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I remember when we went to the Johnson Space Center, they have 3 of those on pylons mounted out in front of the facility there. They're beautiful.
So that's what we're working on today, or this weekend, or however you want to look at it.
Excellent, Bob. And let's go to David here and see what David's got. He's got his Kit Bash NX01 that he's working on.
There she is. A whopping 12 volts.
That is really cool looking.
Looks a little bit like the lunar class.
Very neat.
And I got everything all cooked over. But, yeah. Oh boy. Got live up there. Okay, see what happened on this side?
Mm-hmm.
Failed on that side.
That is really coming along nice. I like that. I noticed you've got some green type spot putty on there. Dave, what kind of putty are you using on that?
Squadron filler putty.
Okay. I didn't even know they made it in green.
Yeah, green and white.
I wonder if there's any different properties to that than the white stuff.
I really haven't noticed anything different. Always the same to me. No. Yeah. Oh. No. That's good.
That is really cool. Got a nice floodlight coming out of that BC deck on the top there too. That's neat.
If you guys install the windows or not.
Oh yeah, showing up nice.
One white's on the bottom, the white's on the top.
Yep, we've got the modified Kit Bash planetary sensor on there. Very cool.
Focus dish. I don't know if you guys can see the focus dish. I'm going to tone these lights down.
Mm-hmm.
See, which is yeah,
Very
so
nice.
That's cool.
I'll make a better video of it.
You were also showing us that you had the 1000 Reliant kit there, didn't you, Dave?
Yes, I did. Got a little more done.
Very nice. How's that kit? How's that kit out of the box, Dave? Is it fit pretty good and pretty quality kit?
Oh yeah, it fits really good. It's actually better than what as far as size, you know.
Yeah, it looks nice and straight and everything.
Yeah, the one thing I noticed with the nacelles is they use the same Enterprise from the Enterprise nacelles. They've got the little lights on the front of the nacelle.
Oh yeah, that's a little detail they might have missed. But you can easily putty those in and move them. Mm-hmm. Well, hopefully, yeah, you were mentioning that a little while ago. Hopefully they'll release the Aztec decals for that here pretty soon.
Hope so.
I know last time you were with us, too, your son was working on his Klingon cruiser. How did that one turn out?
He dropped it.
Oh, no.
1,000 little pieces. Piece of
Oh no.
and he was so upset about him crying over it. I
Well,
like
he can always do a battle damaged version.
that's why I told him.
Yeah.
Over here in the box, and wanted to fix it for him, but I'm trying to fix it. It's hard to do.
You could teach him some Klingon swear words.
There you go. Anyway, I'll teach him to him if I knew some of them. He was he was carrying like this, and he's out there, and all of a sudden he just tripped over something like that, and he started flying through there, and he hit the ground. And I was like,
Oh man. Well, hopefully that doesn't discourage him from getting back into it and starting on another one.
no, he's already got. He's going to scratch build the Reliant, from what he told me.
Oh wow. Excellent.
Wow.
All right, Dave. Well, thanks for showing us that. Appreciate it. And next we've got John. What are you working on, John?
Me, John? This John?
You're up.
Okay. Okay. First thing I brought is I showed you guys that the train I was working on, and this is the actual book. This is the kit right here. This is all you get, and this is supposedly what it's going to look like when it's done.
Wow.
And what I've been working on is this last, the tender back here, and I showed you guys that I've got two sets of these, the truck for the tender, and to show you how big it's going to be. This is the actual frame for the tender itself. It's made out of brass.
Wow.
Holy cow.
So it's it'll be solid. It's going to sit on. It's going to be heavy. but that was one of the things is we build these models and none of these are going to survive us by more than a couple of days. So as soon as somebody looks or touches them, that thing will actually that'll make it. So that's what I'm working on. I got to get going on the plastic. I gotta glue some pieces, and this is my refit. And I took your advice in the video, Boyd, and I cut off the phaser banks there. But that that turned out to be a deceptively nasty thing to try to work out, because when you sand those things off, you damage the grid lines here, and that's a really visible part of the ship, and also any imperfection that you have in that area, when you shine a light on it, the shadows are going to show up. It's going to be very visible. So
what method did you use to take them off of there, John?
well, I tried a razor saw, but I was, just taking like one of those razor blade size saw blades, and I tried moving it back and forth, but I was scratching things up. So then I took a sanding stick and I came back down, and I just tried to get only that area. But still, that plastic's really hard relative to the surface, and there was just a slight lump there. So I got it all done. But now I got to scribe these lines back in, and the thing is with the with these arcs here, I mean those are hard to scribe. I mean you can't. It's hard to get a good even. And the straight lines are pretty straightforward. So I got this. This was from Micromark.
A compass, yeah.
Well, a compass with a cutter on it. I don't know if you guys can see, but you put an X-Acto blade here, and so the amount, if you get this exactly centered, which is relatively easy to do because they got these grid lines at the 90-degree point. If you get that exactly centered on your cutting mat, then you put the center of the compass on that, then you can get the grid pretty much right. I mean the arc exactly right. Now I've tried this a couple of times. I've screwed it up a couple of times. So what my advice would be, if you're going to try to use this thing, get it exactly right. You know, rotate it on one side and then on the other, and if it's exactly where you want it, fine. Then you can start scribing. But you know, you can literally spend 5 or 10 minutes getting this exactly in the right position before you start cutting. But the alternative is to rush it and do it again. So, so that's where I am right now.
Well, I think maybe I'll do a follow-up video on that one, John, and maybe better explain how I did that. What I did in order to not damage the grid lines is I taped it all off. I took some thick painter's tape and I just masked off everything except the phaser bank, and I used some 180 grit sandpaper and just sanded it down until I had it just about completely down. And then once I finished with that, I pulled the tape and just used some, I think it was 320 grit, just to get rid of the rest of the little bit of imperfection there. And it took just a little bit of the grid line off, but I mean not enough to where I couldn't just still put a scribing tool in and have a deep enough trench to just go over it really lightly a few times and bring it right back. But
yeah, that's what I should have done.
Yeah, we're doing another refit here in the shop, so I'll probably show that little thing on the video. But yeah, you can use that thick masking tape, and it will protect the surrounding area, so you're only going to sand on the phaser bank itself and not the rest of it. But it sounds like you've got it worked out how to fix it anyway.
I'm going to fix it. The lower cost came out just fine. So I mean, you know, it's just frustrating. But I will say, I still probably should have done it your way, because I mean, you got to be careful not to sand too much down, otherwise you change the shape of the saucer.
Right. Yep.
So anyway, we'll see.
It'll be worth it in the end, John. When you have your forward floodlight on there on the front and on the bottom, you'll notice that it won't cast that big rectangle-shaped shadow on there. So that'll look nice when it's done. Okay. Anything else you want to show us, John?
That's it.
Okay. We're going to go to Liam next. And every time I see Liam on a Hangout, he's busy working. He uses his time wisely. What you got going on today, Liam?
To sort of chill out a little bit from, I've been doing a couple of things recently that have been really, really frustrating. To chill out, I'm just doing a very simple aircraft build at the minute, but just a little Focke-Wulf 190, just something I can build over 3 or 4 days that I know I can achieve something reasonable out of without the frustration of a bigger model. But as you know, I did the X-wing for the spring build, you know. So, and with Tag's help, he gave me some information that I was after, and I mean I did a reasonable job of this. So it sort of got me thinking.
Liam. Your pictures were fantastic.
I did a reasonable job of this one, and it's a lot to do with the scale of the model, because I like big. I don't know if it's age has anything to do with it, but I prefer to work with something large these days because I can see what I'm doing. If I make a mistake, you cover it up. Whereas a small kit is really frustrating. I mean, I got a hold of one of these.
Nice. The fine molds.
The 1/72 scale one, and if you consider that I think there's something like 68 parts in this X-wing, where this one has over 140 or something.
Mm-hmm.
And the weird thing is that comparing the two of them side by side, the details is good on the big one. So because this turned out reasonably well, so I thought, and that was red. I did it as red 3. The original kit comes as red 5. So I just then decided, and because it's so reasonably priced, I ordered another one.
Way to go, Liam.
It's because that seemed to be a great kit. I thought, well, I'll get the matching.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
The Falcon, and again, these go for about $45, equivalent over here. But this is Revell Europe that produce these. I don't know if you can get them in the States as such. And then, unbeknownst to me, when I ordered this, my kids had ordered me something online, and they ordered me a
second one.
So I've got two of these. So probably, but I'll probably being the summer, and we have a lot on this year. It's my 25th wedding anniversary next week, and we're going to celebrate that. Thank you. So and then August being August, I don't know how much time I'm going to have. It's just the winter time. I do get more building done. There's no question. But it's what to do next. Either it will be one of the easy kits, and again, lighting and enhancement try and make it look a lot better. Or, like Andy, the two Andys, I may finally bite the bullet and try and start an enterprise because I have piles of them in a press behind me here. But it's just getting the guts up to go down that road. And I know it's going to take an awful long time to do it justice. And I don't know how about the rest of you, but I get so frustrated. If I get so far with the build and you're getting issues or problems, you do feel like taking it and launching it into space. But so long as I do build aircraft kits and tanks as well, so long as I've got one of those to fall back on as a calming influence, I probably will have a go at an enterprise this year. If you had a choice, Boyd, or the rest of the group, if you had a choice between the JJ Prize, the NX-01, the TOS-1350, or the refit, which one would you do first?
I would do the TOS-1350 first, Liam.
You're not. A few people have said that, Boyd. I mean, I was interested to hear that because is it because of the scale or the simplicity or?
Yeah, it'll give you a feel for working on a big enterprise model like that, and it's really well engineered. It'll go together. You'll be happy that you'll see. You'll make progress fairly fast on it. It doesn't require a whole lot of complex painting, and the lighting is fairly reasonable on that. And the refit can be a frustrating build for a lot of people because whether you use the decals for it or not, I'm talking about the 350 scale version, it just seems like the progress goes so slow on it because there's these tedious, tiny little details that all have to be done, and you're not getting, you're not seeing the model coming together right away. And the 350 TOS, once you put a basic paint job on it and start assembling it, you're going to see, progress going along pretty fast. And
but they've bought over the last 10 years. Mm-hmm. Just to have them, because if I ever get retirement or more time, then I will launch into one of the kits for the TOS 1350, the older one, the one with the LED only Bussards. So
right, that's a very nice system. That's a really nice setup.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You'll really enjoy building that kit, Liam. It's beautifully engineered, and I have a soft spot for the original Enterprise myself anyway, and they're both beautiful kits when they're finished. Both of the 350 kits, and the NX-01's a great kit too. It's really impressive when it's all put together. They've made some of the guys out there may not know that. We talked about it on the Hangout the other night. There's an aftermarket company that made a kit to convert the NX-01 to the refit version in 350 scale. It's an expensive resin kit, but I think that would look really nice when it's all finished up.
Looks fantastic.
Liam, don't let these guys scare you about the refit. The first ship we ever did was the refit. when you don't know any better, it goes according to plan.
Yeah. It's just that perhaps it's that scene at the start of the picture. You want to recreate that, and if you don't do it justice, you'll just be disappointed, and that's probably what's preventing me doing the refit. But I probably will listen to what you're saying, Boyd, and doing the TOS next. But that will be probably September, October sort of start model.
Yeah, you really have fun with that. We had one of the guys that's on here a lot, Scott. He just completed building the 350 TOS, and that was only like the second or third model he's worked on, and it came out beautiful. I mean, it's a tribute to the engineering on the kit too. I mean, everything fits nice and straight and nice and square. You would really have to screw up bad to have crooked engines or anything like that because they've got it so solid now. When we used to work on those old 650 scale kits, it was everything we could do not to have the engines all crooked and everything like that, and they've solved all that.
My first kit back into modeling last year was the 1650. So
I still enjoy that kit too. It's been around for about 50 years now, so that's pretty amazing. All right, Liam, well, thanks for showing us all that. And again, we're really glad to have you on with us today. Glad you could make it. we're going to go to Tag here next and see what he's got working. He's last I remember, I'm trying to think, he was working on his Fine Molds X-Wing, I believe.
Yeah. And like I had said earlier, I threw my back out Wednesday, so I haven't been able to do a whole lot of anything. I did get all the parts washed, and they're ready to take paint, but I've got to do the lights on the engine, and I'm still kind of debating whether I want to put any lights in the cockpit. The cockpit's kind of lack of detail as far as the inside. But like I said, the last few days, it's just enough to sit up. And
Oh man.
you never know how much leaning over is involved in building models, and leaning over when your back hurts is a little bit painful.
Yeah, it is.
For sure.
But it's I have to say it's a really nice kit, and the 172, I have a couple of those also, and I don't think I'll even try to like that. That thing is, because this thing's pretty small, and I mean this is the 148,
Oh.
and so the 172 is pretty dinky. But talking about the TOS, I would just say just do like Boyd does, just do 3 of them at the same time.
3 different ones?
Yeah, 3 different ones. You can do the toss, and you can do the NX, and you can do the refit all at the same time. You just
Just get a bigger garage.
yeah, just
I get it, guys.
spread them out all over.
I wouldn't wish that paint on my worst enemy, Tag.
Don't mix the parts up.
Well, that'd be hard to do because of the color, because they're all different colored plastics.
That's true. Yeah, you're
But I looked through them, and I would say that Boyd's probably right. The TOS would probably be the easier one, kind of, to get more progress done in a shorter period of time. Plus, for me, I think it would make me a little more energetic to go to the refit after I can see the toss all done. You know, you get to see the lights and how look it, and gives you the energy to go ahead and the energy to go ahead and do the refit, because the refit's got to be easily twice the amount of work, if not 3 times.
It sure is. Yeah, if you remember, you know, what was it, a year or so ago, I did that little Project 350 thing. I started off with the TOS, and then I went to the NX01, and then onto the refit, because I felt like by the time I got to the refit, I kind of had my chops as far as, you know, getting it figured out. And like Liam was saying, I'm such a nutcase for the refit. It's my absolute. I love the ship, and thinking about, okay, you know, when you build it, you don't want to. I was afraid of screwing it up too. I mean, like, you know, it's got a certain look, and if you're off here and there on it, it really shows up. And so yeah, I slowly built up to that one too. It's something that I know there's. If you go and look at all the forums, the older forums, there's a lot of broken threads where the refit's kind of known as the Widowmaker. You see a bunch of people that started the refit, and then the thread just stops, you know, and the guy's gone.
That might be another good reason to put that one off. I'd hate to discourage anybody from building models anymore.
Right, and it has. It's crashed a lot of budding modeling enthusiasts.
It's
I think a lot of people may start with that one.
wider windows.
Right.
The one thing I always say come out with is a 350 scale of this. This one would be nice.
Yeah.
Talking about the 2 Andys there, their project too, I'll have to say that having built that Into Darkness Enterprise model, I would rate that right up there in difficulty with the refit too. It's a difficult model, especially when you start getting into doing all, you know, fixing all the seams on it. It's you know, the way it's constructed and everything. You have to put all the, for example, like the Bassard collectors, you know, the guys that are working on that'll know, everything has to be put in 1/2 of each part, and then you have to glue the 2 halves together. You can't glue the nacelles together and then put the Bassard scoop or whatever you want to call it onto the front. It's got a slot that it sits in on the inside, so that raises a few problems here and there too when you're doing the seams and things like that. So it's quite a seam monster, but it's surprisingly solid. When I first opened up the box and looked at it, I was like, wow, this plastic is really flimsy. But once you start putting it together and you get the there's some kind of cross bracing parts that go in there, it's actually pretty strong and pretty sturdy when it's all done.
German engineering.
Yeah. Yep.
The only other new thing I got was just one of these old A-wing
Wow.
kit.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever even seen that kit.
Yeah, I got it on eBay, and I paid too much for it, but it is what it is. It's a very, very simple kit. There are exactly 2 sprues, and then there's a clear sprue for the canopy and everything. But the detail is really awesome. You're probably not going to be able to see it too well on here because of the color, but
It looks pretty good.
It is. It's very, very good, and it's not a flimsy plastic. So, and it's big enough to be able to light the engines. But being an easy kit, there's fewer parts, and that's the only new thing I've gotten in the last week.
I have the that what's it called, the boxes around the corner. I'd show it to you guys, but that big shuttle kit from Star Wars. What do they call that one again?
The Lambda class Tidarium shuttle.
Right. Have any of you built that kit? And
Yeah.
what do you think of it? It looks pretty big. I briefly looked at it in the box, and I wanted to do some lighting and all that on it, but it looks like it's going to be a big kit.
It's really nice when it's finished.
Nice.
I found the bottom part of the main body quite a bit of filling. It didn't go together very well. May have just been my kit, I don't know, but it was
one
worth
that I've
it.
got is I think it's a 30th, no, not 30th, maybe what, 20th anniversary kit or something like that, a special edition kit they had.
They have one on Amazon. Revell did I think a reissue of it or something like that.
Ah, okay. Yeah, this is I got it pretty cheap off of eBay. I saw it with a few minutes left to go, and on an impulse I just bought it, but it looks nice. I'm looking forward to building that one.
Yeah, it was nice.
I've been thinking about that one too. You know, something differently than the Millennium Falcon and TIE fighters.
We've got a question that came in for everybody here, guys. It's from Matt Smith, who says he's from Scotland, and he says, I have just started the 1-1000 Enterprise refit and a 1-1000 Reliant. I've just finished gluing them together, and what type of white paint does everyone recommend? He's thinking about using a flat white before putting the decals on. What do you guys think about that?
You can, but it's going to have to put a gloss coat over it before he puts the decals on.
Yeah, definitely. You want to flatten it after, but definitely gloss first.
Yeah,
right.
Gloss.
Yep, I think the reason that you'd want to use a gloss coat over that, guys, isn't it right that you'll get silvering in the decals if you have a textured surface? You'll get little air pockets trapped underneath of the decals, and when you go to coat them or whatever, you'll see little kind of, they call it a silvering effect, and that's because it kind of has a little silver frosting look on there if you don't have a smooth surface before you put those on.
Right, and you'll be able to. You need the smooth surface to be able to float the decal into position. You put
Right.
it on a flat paint, it'll just lock in right where you land. You won't be able to move it.
Now, an option that you could have there, Matt, is that you could use the flat paint, and if you wanted to, and if the model is such that you could do that without ruining your paint job, but you can take some really fine sandpaper and you can wet sand that paint as well. If that flat paint has a little bit of a texture on it, you can wet sand that down and smooth it out quite a bit, and make it more suitable for putting decals on it too.
I didn't know that. What?
Yeah, I do that all the time. Before I if I'm using even just regular paint, I'll usually fine sand it with some 1500 or 2000 grit sandpaper. I picked that habit up from painting cars. When we paint a car, we'll put the base color on the car, and then we'll wet sand the entire paint job before we put the clear coat on, and that will make your clear even smoother. And then of course you're gonna wet sand and polish the clear after that too. But you're doing that as each step, and you can do the same thing on a model. Some people, I was surprised to find out, some people don't sand their primer, and that's a really important step when you're doing. After you do your primer, you want to wet sand that out too with some really fine sandpaper, so that when you put your paint down, you don't have that texture on there.
I use a 000
steel wool, yeah, that'll work too.
I go over completely with that, and it works great. I have had no problems with that.
That's nice because steel wool will actually get down into some of the nooks and crannies that you can't get into with sandpaper. It'll follow the contours and reach right down in there. So we hope that answers your question there for you, Matt. I've got someone called Matthew Conlon Smith who says hello to everyone. And Sergeant Price, he's asking if he can get in. I'm sorry, Sergeant, but we've got a full room right now. The Hangout only allows 10 people in here, but we might have an opening here. If you keep watching, if someone drops off here towards the end, you'll be able to hop in. So let's go to Ralph now and see what Ralph's got going on in the world at Tenant Controls. What have you got cooking there, Ralph? What can everybody expect you to be releasing pretty soon?
Well, I've been on vacation the week because we got some work to do at the house and then going to the beach here and there, so it's been a crazy week. But we've been working on, it's been done. A gentleman asked for the Liberator engine, so that is in our possession, and it's being shipped to him. Another gentleman wanted a Romulan Warbird sound, so we're working on a couple of different ways to do that. Then there's another guy, Jamie, which you guys know, he's in England, the Stingray sub. We're going to make some stuff for that. And working on the resin kit for the flying saucer for that. And
oh wow!
Yeah.
Is there? I didn't even. There's a model kit of that. I'd like to have that.
Well, you're gonna have it, Boyd, because it's from Fantastic Plastic.
Ah.
And they're out in California. So I spoke to Alan. He's the president there. So he was kind enough to send me one. So I'm working on the electronics. Actually, the electronics is done, but and sent to a customer. But I want to do my own thing and make sure that what we talked about was going to work for it, the way the saucer, because you only see like 6 seconds of it. So we can take poetic licensing and how you want to like this thing. But the main effect is the circumference of where the engine effect is on the rotating part. That's the key. So I got a way to do that, I think, that will work well. So once we build it, guess what? We're going to ship it to you for painting.
All right.
Because after
I
that,
was waiting for that. I was just waiting for that because I knew it was coming.
The caveat to this is Tenant Controls will do the lighting, TrekWorks will do the painting, and then it's being shipped back to Fantastic Plastic so they can showcase it.
Great, yeah, we'll be happy to work with them. I was going to say I have done a lot of research on that model. You know, there's a behind the scenes on the DVD for The Thing, which is one of my favorite movies. It was actually a female professional model builder that built that original prop.
Wow.
And it's quite large. It's probably about 3 or 4 feet in diameter, and she still has it. And during the video there or whatever, she got it out of her closet and plugged it in, and it still worked. And it was completely scratch built. It was beautiful.
Maybe I want to take a look at that video.
Yeah, she was talking about, you know, how she had spent like months and months and months working on it, and they only showed it for, like you said, 6 seconds during the movie.
It was not even the whole saucer. I think it's just like an eighth of the saucer. 30.
It just does a flyby. Yeah, it goes by and goes into the atmosphere or whatever. But it's a beautiful design. So yeah,
so
very cool, Ralph.
That's still in the box because, you know, we're working on so many things. The robot, we're a little challenged with that brainstem thing that we got to work out and iron out. And of course, a little while back, we showcased and put the 1/44th scale Forbidden Planet saucer engine effect that very happy to say it's been flying off the shelf, so to speak, no pun intended. Yeah, people have gravitated toward that board and it's selling quite well. yeah, so we got a lot of things going on, but we keep getting more requests from you guys, and basically that's why I'm here. That's what Tenant Controls is here, is because you guys want stuff, and we try like heck to produce it. Some of you guys know this, some of you guys don't overseas. We do now have a full manufacturing facility for large orders, like for people like Cult TV Man and other OEM accounts that we have, so I can concentrate on the onesies and twosies for the retail business and the design. So that has helped out, and things are going great here, and it's all because of you guys.
That's
Ralph,
wonderful, Ralph. Well
Ralph,
deserved.
sorry,
Go ahead.
can I ask a question? I'm just going to start a screen share. This is a friend I have who lives in Germany.
Okay.
He does this kind of building. I'll show you this picture. Can you see that?
Oh, wait, hang on. Yeah, go ahead. Try it. Go ahead. Do it.
The phaser bank.
Yep.
You see
Oh, I
the-
love that effect. I love how it goes to a random spot. Yeah, that's really cool.
It's just I'm surprised no one's asked you for that one, but
Well, we do have a phaser array for the E and D Enterprise, and it's not random. It's set to fire 3 different positions: left, right, center.
right.
Nice.
So it will fire in 3 different locations. Armando actually built one, but we thought because of the way the diffusion was going to be on that particular Enterprise D, was it the E? I think it was the E. That it was going to be challenging. So I talked him out of doing the standard 3 location phaser array and talked him into one. But Armando is a very good builder, as you guys probably know by now, and he found a nice way to do that effect. And it's too bad that I talked him out of doing it a 3-way effect instead of a single effect, because the way he did it would work excellent with a 3-way phaser array effect that would fire in 3 different locations. So yeah, what chip was that, Liam?
That's the Enterprise E.
Oh yeah. Yep. As a matter of fact, if you go on the website, you'll be able to see the phaser arrays.
Right. Okay.
Oh, shit.
I must have missed that, but yeah.
Yeah, we have a new, fairly new website, Liam. It's very intuitive. In other words, it's you look at the ship you want to build, you click on it, and that will take you to the page where it has just the lighting for that particular ship, unlike in the old days where you had to scroll down.
Yeah.
So we're very happy with Jerry's design on that, and he helped us out with that. So yeah, look at what's there and see if that fulfills your needs.
Boyd, just for your interest, the same guy, his YouTube channel is General Mattock, M-A-T-O-Q. He did the Tidarium shuttle and motorized the wings and everything on it.
Wow. I think I'm subscribed to him, Liam. I'll have to check that out. Yeah, that's really cool.
He's a German guy, and I've tried to get him to come on Hangouts, but his English isn't very good, and he's very reluctant to do it. It's an awful pity because he produces fantastic work.
Very nice. Well, that's excellent. Well, I guess it's my turn here, guys. I'll show you a little bit. First, I wanted to show you guys this. This is one of Ralph's new. It looks like this is a retail package there, Ralph.
Yes, that's
really nice.
That's what's going to the show in Jersey Fest.
Very cool. Yep, you've got this nice little blister pack that everything comes in now. This happens to be the 1/1000 scale TOS Enterprise lighting kit, which I'm going to show you guys right now. I've just been working on this model for Ralph. He wanted to have it on display at the Jersey Fest. Got busy here in the last few days and got that. If I don't lose my connection, I just got my little clamps on there, but you can see the beautiful little Bassard effect going on there. And it looks really similar to the larger 350 scale kit he's got for the TOS Enterprise, if you guys have seen that one before. But yeah, you get the nice little flashing navigation lights there, and a wire harness to light up the bridge dome and the planetary sensor on the bottom. And it turned out really, really nice. So I highly recommend it if you guys want to light one of these. It's a perfect little desktop model, and like I said before, I'm amazed, Ralph, at what you electronic guys are capable of doing now and getting these small components into these little tiny models. It just really brought it to life. It's beautiful.
With regards supplying Europeans, Ralph, I know we've talked about this before. The big issue now, well, it's got worse. The postal costs are one thing. Then we get hit for the customs import and so on. There's no possibility of you ever joining up with a European distributor. So, you know, to avoid that side of things, I know it should save something in the process compared with ordering directly from you.
Well, we do have some American distributors, if you want to call it that. There's Starfleet Model Academy. Excuse me, my mouth is sore here. I had a tooth pulled out a while ago, so I'm talking funny here when there's a missing tooth. But we do have one. Wally here is mimicking my website. He can sell them, you know, my stuff, and we drop ship. And we have another one, Arizona, Evans Lighting. He strictly purchases. But we are always looking for distributors, but we haven't had any really come forward from overseas, even though we do. We were just funny you say that, Liam. I was just looking at the numbers last week, and year over year we've grown as far as international sales to the consumer, like directly to you guys. Canada and England is about 11% of the sales. As you probably know, the United States is about 80%. The rest is split up over the other countries that we deal with, which is probably about 12 now. But we can always entertain that. We're looking to grow as any viable business wants to do. So that door is always open. We're in talks here to go into hobby stores directly, and you know, so there's a lot of things going on, Liam. And distributors.
I might inquire with a couple of the bigger UK distributors to see if any of them would be interested in contacting you. So just to try. I mean, it'll only improve your sales, and it'll obviously make it a lot easier for us at this end too.
Yes, I feel bad that every time we ship stuff, especially to the UK, if it's expensive, you guys get hit with that. What is it, the VAT tax or something?
You get import duty plus VAT of 20%.
It's amazing. It's
plus handling fee.
Plus handling fee for going to the post office to pick it up yourself.
Oh my gosh! For that fee, they should hand deliver on their knees to you. Never mind you picking it up. Plus the postal
charges have gone up, I know, as well. So.
Yeah, we do ship priority. Gentlemen, as a matter of fact, from the UK just today, before I came to the Hangout, he was saying, I'd like to get this delivered as quickly as possible. And, excuse me, he said, what's the best, you know, the most quickest way to get over there? And, you know, we do ship priority, but that can be anywhere from 5 to 14 days. And there's Priority Express, and they will get it there in 4 days to the UK. But that was, instead of $26, it was $46. And unfortunately, this gentleman just needed some special LEDs that he can't find himself. And we were willing to sell it to them because these are special bicolor LEDs. They're like trying to find, you know, gold in the desert. So
the unfair thing is, if I order stuff from China or Hong Kong, it's never stopped by customs.
No,
it's not.
Yeah.
Never ever.
They have an agreement of some kind, apparently.
I got costumes, a Star Trek costume. Again, it's about £90, which is what, $160. No problem, straight through.
Did you pay tax on that?
Nope.
No. Boyd, I think I'm gonna move to China.
Yeah.
Better wear a gas mask.
Yeah. Well, at least Hong Kong.
Yeah.
We'll have to look into improving matters for you over here. We'll see what we can do.
Sure. Awesome.
I just got a comment that came in from Jay Godby, who says, I just got my first Tenant Controls board, and I just wanted everyone to know that Ralph is now my new savior and king. Ralph made another new friend.
Yeah.
King Ralph.
I have another question here from our friend Matthew Conlon Smith again, and he's asking, well, first he says thanks for the tip on the painting of the 1/1000 scale, and he's asking what is everybody's recommendation for doing the best way to do battle damage?
Throw it.
Well, I think it depends on a lot of what kind of battle damage you want to do. If you want to actually have any physical holes in the model, or if you just want to do a little bit of scarring as far as discoloration, which you can easily do with some of these chalk pastels or an airbrush. What are your guys' opinions on that? There are lots of different techniques to do that.
The JT Graphics, I think, don't they have a battle damage decal set?
Well, actually, for the 1/1000 scale, they have a photo etch battle damage kit, which I used on my Droid Enterprise. I had it sitting here, but what was left of it, but otherwise I'd show it to you, but I don't know what I did with it.
I've got one too, but I don't know where to put it either. So.
That was really nice because the paragraphics one is nice because you can just make some holes in the hull or in the saucer, and then you've got these photo etch panels that go behind it that simulate like the inner decking and things like that, and then you just kind of paint it, and when you look in there, you can actually see some detail. So that was pretty nice. Made to fit the kit.
Boyd, I'm going to have to bow out now, but hopefully someone else can take my place. But is this going to be weekly, monthly? Can I just ask that before I go?
Every week from now on, it'll be at the same time on Saturday at 2 o'clock USA Central Time, Liam. So tell your friends over there in Europe. We'd be glad to have them on with us.
We will pass the word. Nice chat to you all tonight.
Thank you for joining us today, Liam.
See you soon, Liam.
Sorry to bow out so quick. Okay, bye. Bye.
Bye, Liam.
Okay, guys, we've gotten through the show and tell, and we've gotten through the introductions. It's time for our usual sort of open discussion now. If anybody has anything they want to bring up or any questions they want to ask, it's open floor.
Hey, boy, have you seen one of these?
Let's see what you got there, Dave.
Osprey.
Oh, yeah. Is that an actual model kit?
Yep. There's the body.
Oh, yeah. Very neat.
Got the wings started, but...
Very neat. And who actually makes that kit, Dave?
Italia.
Huh.
Nobody knows how to say that word.
Italiary?
Yeah, see,
exactly.
I've turned Italieri, Edilari. It's like nobody knows how to say it.
There's a lot of parts of this thing, too.
Are they kind of a garage kit company? Is that what they are? Or they're...
No, they're big in Europe.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they are. Okay. Like
they've been around
Airfix used to be?
Yeah, they've been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I built their 1/35th scale PT boat.
Oh.
It's about this big. I can't even do it on the monitor. It's a big model.
That's cool. Oh, Andy's showing us some lighting there. Oh, look at that. Beautiful. Like that floodlight effect there coming off of the BC deck.
Oh.
Very nice.
It was a pain getting those SMDs in on the bridge, on the the saucer for the registry.
Right. Yep. Because they have to face a little bit forward, and you don't want them to be sticking up where you can see them.
Yeah, they do stick up a little bit, but dab of crystal clear on the back kind of returns the little teardrop shape. So.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Good job, Andy. It's beautiful.
Yeah. What Adreno board did you use for for that?
Um,
The Uno or the?
I actually bought a cheap knockoff version, a Spark
Oh,
Fun.
okay.
But it works with any. I mean, Andy's got an Uno, and the script works straight on his. The only issue you've got with Arduinos is they have a cap for how many milliamps you can pull off the board, and obviously the JJ has rather a lot of LEDs in it, so we're running a couple of little. It looks like a complete bird's nest. There's two little boards in there, and basically it's transistor driven. So the output from the Arduino goes to a transistor, and then the power it goes through the board to light all the LEDs. So you're not pulling massive amounts of current through the Arduino.
Right, it goes to like what, 5 to 5 volts? It brings it down to 5 volts. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then each LED has obviously its own resistor.
And you're putting what kind of resistors you putting on there? 470s or
330s mainly.
330s. Okay.
Yeah. For the SMDs to knock them down, they tend to take a little bit more. I mean, we've been playing around with 3 to 12Ks, and a 12K will give a nice little spot effect. I think Andy's done it for the back of the shuttle bay. Around the edge there's a couple of little lights that light up. Yeah, there you go. Where you've got the registry number on the back. So,
right.
Because you don't want them glaring. But yeah, I mean, half the fun with this has been working out the ins and outs of what's needed to keep the lighting consistent. Obviously, I mean, a lot of people will put a kit together, and sometimes they're really, really bright, sometimes they're a little bit dull. I've certainly suffered from that. But I think we've watched Into Darkness and Star Trek 2009 about 50 times each, and every single time we see this little bit, and I'll get a little message from Andy going, "Have you noticed that in this clip there's actually a double flash here?" And you look at it in another shot, and it's not. The lighting on that model is really inconsistent throughout the two films.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah,
it's
Right, there you go. Now, how are you going to make a product, Andy? There you go. You got to choose.
I know.
I picked up the very first scene of the Enterprise underwater. There's a strobe flashing on one of those little winglets on top of the
Exactly.
cell.
Yeah,
And
it's
it's
a double fact on that.
never again in the rest of the movie does it appear.
Exactly.
One time.
Well, those are the underwater lights.
Yeah.
they only work when they're underwater.
Yeah.
But you're right though. The biggest challenge with lighting a model kit is getting it into scale to what the scale of the model is. Because like you said, it's easy to just throw lights in there and just have them be bright. But the challenge of trying to dim them down or whatever you have to do to get them to look more in scale is the challenge.
Yeah.
So far, you guys are doing awesome. It looks really. Oh, you even went. Oh, good.
Oh yeah, we're lighting those up.
Yeah, because I haven't seen too many people try that kit and actually cut those slots out to try to light that part.
Andy, we can't hear you, mate. Or I can't anyway.
Yeah, no, it sounds off.
I'll send him a message here.
Can you hear us? Can you hear us?
No, I don't think he can.
Okay.
But,
Yeah, some people have mixed feelings about the JJ prize, but I really like it.
I liked it a lot better after I built the kit.
Yeah. Well, I like the direction that they went.
They had to update it.
Well, yeah, and I thought it was very, very smart to change the timeline, because it's not the first time Star Trek has gone back in time or changed the timeline.
Yeah.
But to do that and then start a whole process with a whole new timeline, that way you're not stepping on anybody who did it before's toes. I just thought that was really classy. There's a lot of thought in that.
It got a lot of a lot of people beat up on it, but the films have gaping flaws, but they're so much fun. I mean, they're great films.
Yeah, I've probably seen each of them probably at least 20 times already myself.
In fact, that subject came up when I went out to L.A. a couple months ago and sat down with the guys that worked on the original models for Star Trek: The Motion Picture. I asked them what they thought about the new franchise, and they all loved it. They said that they thought that it needed to be updated, that it needed more action, it needed a bigger budget, and they were very pleased. They actually liked the new design. In fact, they thought that the design kind of went back to more of the original design cues, where it had that really distinct sort of, if you want to call it, triangle shape with the saucers and the distinct pylons and nacelles, where the Enterprise E started getting more look like a speedboat.
Right.
So yeah, I think getting the seal of approval from the original people is a nice little feather in their cap.
Well, you have to understand too that those guys are always going to look at that stuff from a creative point of view, and not from a viewer, not from a customer's point of view.
Well, when Paul Olson finally puts out the DVD of that whole interview, you guys are really good. If you're Trek fans, you're really going to enjoy it, because they gave some behind-the-scenes details that I've never heard before. Especially one of the most interesting parts was hearing Richard Taylor, who designed the Enterprise refit, his conversations that he had with Gene Roddenberry about the direction they wanted to go. And Richard was kind of a, comes from an engineering background. His dad, I think, was in the Navy as an admiral or something like that. But anyway, he was familiar with ships and things like that. And so he had concepts about what spaceships would look like. And to him, the Enterprise design doesn't make any sense, because he was talking about like the center of gravity, where you have this huge saucer way out in front and the rest of the thing, he said if it wasn't for, gravity or whatever, the thing would just nose right down and, it would spin when it tried to take off or whatever. It's not balanced. But, talking to Gene Roddenberry, he said, no, it has to look like it has to have the configuration that it had in the original television series. You can update things here and there, and he talked about how the main thing that he really worked on was the engine nacelles, and how he used a sort of a 1930s Art Deco design on those. And the grill work on the front is supposed to be reminiscent, I think they said, of a 1933 Ford or something like that. So it was really interesting to hear him talk about all that.
Yeah, I think it's funny when I start talking about ship design in space, because it doesn't really matter what shape it is. It can be any shape in space. There's no gravity.
Right.
The
And no drag.
Yeah, and if you
worry about aerodynamics at all, unless it's going to go into the atmosphere. But if it had theoretically, if it has a bubble around it, that doesn't matter either. It's
right. If you go through that theory of the warp engine, it's all surrounded like a magnetic field or whatever. So everything is adjusted and pushing whichever way it needs to steer. Of course, they still put the thrusters on them and everything, because you have to have explosions in space. Otherwise, it's just not fun to watch.
Yeah, like I said, I think the Into Darkness Enterprise, but it to me the refit is still, I think, the most overall beautiful design. It's like perfect from every angle, and it doesn't even look old. I mean, the design doesn't even look dated or anything yet, and here it is, 30-something years later.
Yeah,
it still looks beautiful.
Yeah, I do like that design too. I remember being quite pleased with the design when it finally came out in the theaters, because you hadn't seen anything for so long. Yeah. Try to make it look too modern or something like that, and they did a really, really good job on it.
Mm-hmm.
And like you say, the Aztecs that they did on it, the shimmering, that was really genius idea.
Yeah. They were thinking really hard about what they could do to it, listening to what they were saying. They really were emphasizing the scale of it. They wanted it to look, like it was over 1,000 feet long. And that's where the idea of bringing in that paneling came in, to make it look like it was something that was assembled in pieces, you know what I mean?
Right.
And you just get that sense of scale.
Yeah, and look at all the other films that have followed that since.
Right. Yeah, you get a few rare glimpses of the Aztec paneling on the JJ Prize in the new films when there's just a couple small shots here and there where the light bounces off it a certain way, and you see the iridescent colors on it. But it shows up better on the Blu-ray version of the movie, but it's definitely there.
Yeah, you guys, the Andes. You guys have that little bit on the DVD, or I mean the Blu-ray DVD, to where you can go and look around the ship, the CG model.
The inspection tour. Yeah.
Yeah, the inspection tour.
Invaluable.
Yeah, I was going to say that would probably be I actually just bought one. I know I have one in a box somewhere in the garage, but I'm not going to go through all those boxes to try to find it. So I just bought another one. Because that's probably going to be my next kit. I'm really wanting to do it.
Yeah, it's a nice kit. It really is. I wish it was a little bit less expensive here in the States to get a hold of it. It's still going for around $70 US to get your hands on one.
Yeah, I was just looking the past couple of days, and the cheaper one is at $75.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
35, 40.
I've got a kit. I've got a complete kit sitting here that I got from Cult TV Man when he had them in stock. You know, every time he would get them, a week later they were gone. So I had it on. I had set my notifications, and as soon as he got them in, I ordered it that day, just to have one.
Yeah, because I also wanted to try to. I wanted to try to bash one of those into a Reliant.
That would be neat.
Yeah, I was just looking at that Osprey that was one of the guys showed earlier. It looked like the top wing part.
You know, that's exactly the thought I had. I was like, oh my God, it looks like it could be the top of the Reliant. Yeah, I need to find out what size kit that is, what scale it is. Yeah, right there. That looks perfect.
I've been hoping that they would bring out better version. Well, I know there's some resin kits available for the old new TOS fleet, if you like, the ones that get destroyed at Vulcan.
Right.
But I noticed in that new Star Trek Axanar trailer, they've started using those similar designs, and there's a beautiful I think it's a 3-engine version.
Yes.
I love that design.
Bob, wasn't it you last week or a couple of weeks ago that showed us that design of that Federation ship that sort of looked like a Romulan bird of prey?
Yeah, the Peregrine, yeah.
That is really cool. That was one of the better designs that I've seen in a while. I'd love to have something like that built up. That's neat looking.
I just got 2 of those 1,000 scale Reliant kits from Jerry. Just came in yesterday. One of them is going to be kit bashed into that.
Nice. Very cool.
Yeah, David, what scale is that kit?
It's a 148 scale.
148?
148?
Yeah, it's 148 scale.
Okay. Yeah, I need to get one of those because that definitely looks like I could make that work as the roll bar on a JJ Reliant.
Yeah, it wouldn't take much to do it because you just.
Yeah.
Yeah, two of those, one for the top, one for the bottom.
Yeah.
Did any of you happen to see that people were posting pictures from this year's Wonderfest, and there was a gentleman there that did a 350 scale TOS Reliant?
I didn't see that.
Oh, it was just absolutely gorgeous. It looks exactly like a TOS era Reliant should look. And he kit bashed it out of the TOS 350 kit, and it was absolutely gorgeous. Bob's got a picture of that up again there. Look at that design, guys. That's really cool.
Yeah, I like that too. That's really sharp.
Oh, nice.
Got a nice streamlined yet menacing look to it.
Yeah, there is a guy on Google that made a Reliant out of using the JJ Prize.
That doesn't look like it would be too hard to do. I mean, you're doing you're using the basic Reliant secondary hull or primary hull, if you want to call it that, the pylons and the just the little extension pieces. All you need there going off of the hull to the pylon.
Yeah, because it looks like they flipped the pylon fins. If they just put the skinny end towards the engine.
This is part of the roll bar here.
Right.
So you
That's neat.
Here. Or if we had a refit kit around, you could probably build most of this part out of the refit.
Sure.
Yeah, it looks like they just flipped it, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's
That's
interesting.
really cool. I like that.
Interesting.
The Reliant, of course, is my second favorite ship in the
Uh,
Federation fleet. I've always liked that one.
Yeah, I think it's my favorite of all of them.
yep.
When will they give us an honest-to-goodness 350 scale version of that kit? Every time Polar Lights does a poll, it wins every time. But they haven't done anything on it, as far as I know.
Yeah, I have a feeling that they're starting to become more corporate than they are. Because looking at the refit kit and then looking at the TOS kit, the 350, those things are really well crafted. Way better than any of the other kits that, you know, I'm not talking about the repops, but any of the other kits that they've done.
Yeah.
They're just so superior. And the price isn't different.
Yeah. I was just talking about that the other day. It's amazing to me that the mold for the refit it's been out since basically 2007, I think, is when that kit first came out. It's just as clean and crisp and perfect. Every kit that I get, I've built, I've got several of them here now, and they look exactly the same. I mean, no degradation at all in the molds or anything. Beautiful. They must use some high quality molds when they did that.
Yeah, it's so crisp and clean. It's really good.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, here's the one I was talking about. The guy that took the. Is it working? Yeah, it's on there.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can see he took the Reliant and then he used the engines from the JJ.
That's pretty neat looking. Yeah.
Yep. And I mean, he did the whole lighting and all the Aztecs. He did a really good job.
Yeah, I like the little detail he did there on the ribbing there on the top by the crystal that kind of updated a little bit.
Yeah.
Neat. I've just got another comment that came in here, guys. It says, "Hi, gents. I'm from Belfast, based just down the road from Leon in Derry, I think it says, and would love to be able to pick up light kits. If a local distributor is found, please spread the word. Also, can you recommend a lighting project for an enthusiastic beginner?"
The Classic Viper is probably the easiest light for lighting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oops. There's my screensaver.
For a Star Trek kit, I always recommend the classic AMT Romulan Bird of Prey kit for somebody that wants to do some basic lighting to start with. That's a fun kit to put together, and the lighting on it's pretty simple. All the window ports on the top are already there. You just have to drill them out, and lighting the engines up is pretty easy. And it's a nice looking model when it's done. That's one of my favorite kits. Even though it's not totally accurate, that's still one of my favorite original AMT kits.
Unfortunately, in the UK, at least, because I've looked at a few of those, they're distributing them in tin boxes.
Yeah, we had those here, but
they
were
throw the price up
discontinued.
for that.
Yeah, they do. Yeah, like here they were $20 more than the regular kit.
Yeah.
And you don't get anything different. It's just the box. But aren't they coming out with a 1/1000 scale classic Romulan? I heard they were. I think Round 2 announced that at the last Wonderfest.
That'd be nice.
Yeah.
Though I wish they'd do an Enterprise version.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that'd be nice. I like that. That was pretty sweet looking.
I remember the original one. That was my first bad experience with decals, because that big bird decal to go on the bottom of that thing, and when you're like 10 years old and you're doing it the first time, I messed that thing up so bad.
Yeah.
That's when you start learning how you gotta figure out how to piece ripped pieces together.
Everybody's had to deal with that on that one. Yep.
Well, I even did on my Viper. There's a couple of tears on there, but obviously being older and a little more experienced, I was able to do it, and you can't see a seam anywhere on the tear. But that's a lot thanks to the solvent too, because they didn't have that stuff when I was 10 years old.
Yeah, they've improved. We improve our skills as we learn how to model, and the products themselves have gotten better.
Yeah, definitely.
Does anybody know how to take paint off of an older model?
Paint off of what?
How to strip the paint?
Yeah, because this is
Purple stuff.
fun, and I want to repaint this thing. Do it.
I think one of the guys mentioned a couple weeks ago the liquid plumber works really good for that too.
Yeah, the purple stuff works really good too.
The
The off
shiny,
oven cleaner. I think you have to use a certain kind of that though that people keep talking about.
isopropyl works too.
Mm-hmm.
But it's got to be, yeah, it's got to be the over 90%.
Oh,
Anything
Protect
less,
the plastic.
yeah, it'll take too long with anything less.
Yeah, 'cause I didn't want to do any damage to it. This is an older kit. A friend of mine gave it to me. He asked me if I wanted it. I was like, hell yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, just get you a big, huge freezer Ziploc bag, put it in there with some purple stuff, and then just let it sit.
Oh, okay. Does anybody know
Yeah, and you can get the model apart by putting that in a freezer, letting it sit overnight, and you'll be able to crack it right apart. That it will like harden up the glue, and you can split it right apart.
Huh. Does anybody know if this ship had a header on it at all? Like class text on it?
Mm-hmm. Well, guys, I'm showing just about 2 hours in. I'm going to get close to wrapping this up here. Anybody have any final thoughts, comments?
Yeah, actually, Andy's, when you get done, are you going to supply the code for the sketch for the Adreno board?
That's the big question.
Well, we can talk about it. I mean, you know, if you want to do something in trade, I'm good with that too.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know what to do about it at the minute. I was asking on the Google Plus groups, you know, how people wanted to do. I mean, it's a pretty generic board. I mean, it'll work for pretty much any Federation ship.
Right.
But you know, I don't want to tread on anybody's toes. I was primarily doing it for the UK people because the costs of shipping the stuff from Ralph and that is so expensive for us.
Right.
So, don't know. I mean, if people are interested in it, I'll stick it on an Arduino and send it out. You know, for however much. I don't know.
Well, you don't have to even send it with a board. All you got to do is just zip the code. The sketch can be cut and pasted. Yeah, the sketch can be cut and pasted into any software.
Oh yeah.
For the Adreno, yeah. Because I have an Adreno. I bought one. I actually bought it for my dad's train layout because I've got a little town and there's going to be about 30 lights. So I wanted to be able to get some sort of randomness for the lights coming on and off, you know, while he's doing his trains. And then I saw somebody else doing this with an Adreno, and I was like, you know, that's a good idea. I might look into that to see how easy it is. And the code is actually fairly easy. It's a lot easier than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Well, it looks a lot like, because I used to be in graphic design and web design, so it looks almost exactly like web design code. It's not much dissimilar.
Yeah, it's a pretty basic version of C++, really.
Yeah, it's a very simple action script. So, but it is work. It is time. So
yeah,
that's why I'm like, you know, like I said, we can talk about it. You know, I'm willing to trade. You know, something if you're up for it.
Send me them out. Cool.
Okay.
Very good.
But it's looking good. Yeah, those things are looking really good. I'm liking them.
You did a good job with it, yeah.
Yeah, I can't wait to see what you guys do with the Bassards. Did you get the photo etch? The photo etch for the Bassards? You did? Yeah, I got it too.
The only problem that we've got at the minute is finding a lightweight, quiet motor that runs at the right RPM.
Yeah, that's the issue with every single one of those because you're dealing with a hollow tube that basically acts as a megaphone. So even a gearless motor is going to make some kind of vibration and some kind of noise. But
yeah, I ordered a couple from China, and they took 3 weeks to get here. And within 2 minutes, I knew that they weren't any good. So
yeah, you've got to find one that's the right voltage range and right RPM range too, or the blades will fly off there and get you in the throat or something. You got to have it turn slow enough.
Yeah.
Well, I haven't gone and looked, but they do make foam insulation for like copper pipe, and I thought about maybe one of those sizes would work to be able to insert the motor into one of those foam insulated things, and it's it's foam insulation. It's a tube. You can cut it, and it may reduce the noise quite a bit.
Well, when I built one of these 350 scale TOS kits, the client that I built it for, he was asking, is there any way to get it a little bit quieter? And I experimented around with quite a bit of that. And what I wound up doing is I put a bead of I took some Velcro, the Velcro, the fuzzy part of the Velcro, not the porcupine side, but the fuzzy side of it. And I wrapped that Velcro tape, and I wrapped that around the motor, and stuck that in the housing, and so it was kind of just floating in there on its own, isolated. And then I took some foam rubber that I had here left over from a window air conditioner installation kit, and put that inside the tube itself, and that cut down on the noise probably about at least more than half. It really made a big difference.
Hey Boyd.
Yeah.
Remember the motors that we're using for that TOS 350?
Uh-huh.
Those were fairly quiet. I'm not going to say they were, quiet.
They're definitely quieter than the round 2 motors for sure.
Andy, did you hear with the motors that we supply? Are those not quiet enough?
Haven't seen those.
I think
I have a pair of them right here. I'll show them to you if I can find them real quick.
How much did you pay from China, Andy?
They were cheap. They were like £3.50. So
$6, $4 or $5.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can we sell the motors and the board, which you probably wouldn't care because you could do your own. But we can sell both motors for like $30 American.
Yeah.
With wires on them. I don't know if that, one would go clockwise and one would go counterclockwise, and you can run them anywhere from 3 to 6 volts.
That'd be cool.
And see at what range, if it's quiet enough, we could do it. I think you can go to my YouTube, which is under Tenor Control, no S, Tenor Control.
Yep.
And see, I think we got it on YouTube. I could be wrong.
Okay, and you're happy, that they're quite quiet, are they? Or
well, Boyd has played with them, and another gentleman bought, Jim Paul, has used them in his 1350. He claims they were very quiet. Now mine, I connected to a vice, so that transmits noise, it amplifies the noise. If you run it at like 4.5 to 5 volts, it's much quieter than at 6.
Right.
See what I'm saying?
Here's what the motor looks like there.
Good.
It has a metal gear reduction, gearbox on it, so it'll last a long time. And they're at least half as much quiet as the round 2 motors were, and they'll fit, in. These would easily fit in the JJ Prize and the housing in there, and they turn at the right RPM, so you're not having to worry about, that. At anywhere from like 6 to 12 volts, they'll spin at a really reasonable RPM.
Now, those motors that we use can only go up to 6, so you'll damage them.
Oh, okay. Well,
okay.
There you go.
Well, when we sell them with the board takes care of that.
Yeah.
You can come in anywhere from 8 to 15 volts DC, and the board, it will step it down, and there's a variable pot on that, so you can go to between 4 and 6 volts.
Well, the Adreno board will take care of that for him because it steps it down to 5 volts. So whatever he's pushing through the board first will take care of that and not burn that motor out.
Well, yeah, as long as you set it up so it's a voltage. This one, it's just strictly a voltage device. It's not pulse width modulator like you're gonna do in the Arduino. It's definitely a regulator. That's all it is. It's just it's very boring voltage regulator. So it's an analog system. So you actually get true voltage. You don't get the pulse width modulated. Because with pulse width modulation, if you don't do it right, that motor's gonna go
right.
Yeah. So you got to do it right. And computers are great, but analog is still king in certain regards.
Yeah.
I definitely prefer it in a phone.
Well, yeah,
Hey, the old phones you pick up and you turn the dial, you can set those down and use them for a speakerphone.
There you go.
That was my prototype before I learnt the Arduino. So that's my double flash and my triple flash.
Oh, with the 555s?
Yeah, I learned how to do a triple flash with two 555s.
Yep.
Worked great.
The only problem with 555s, because we started 4 years ago. That's what we used originally because we were prototyping.
Yep.
But if you're going to go into full-scale manufacturing for repeatability, you just can't use those. It's just, I mean, you get the best capacitors you can buy are like 5%. And so there's your error right there. Most people use 20%, so there's your error right there. Where in a computer, you're talking 1 to 2% error because of the clock.
Yep.
So there you go.
Yep. I won't go back now.
Yeah, no, you can't.
Yeah. Well, that's the same with, once you go from rattle can to an airbrush, it's real hard to go back. Except for maybe priming,
Oh, we got a car, like hardware store chain over here called Halford's, and their rattle can collection is amazing. And yeah, I'll use it for base coating, priming, lacquering, but obviously fall back to the airbrush for any sort of detailing.
Right.
Yeah, it's done good stuff.
I like this ship. It's exciting.
That's pretty good.
I just watched it a couple of days ago again. Just like I was saying, we were talking about the new Star Trek for TV. I was talking about Star Trek Reliance. So I'm doing some research on gathering some video clips, try to put my own fan-made trailer together, just for fun. You throw some After Effects in there and everything.
Well, fellas, I'm going to call this one a wrap. I'm showing 2 hours in here, and I just wanted to mention real quick that at 7 o'clock p.m. tonight, USA time, I'll have my shop helper Jeremy here, a.k.a. Sir Sansalot. We're going to do our first webcast show, the Model Shop guys, and we're going to be out here working live in real time, working on the models and showing you some tips and tricks. So those of you in the audience out there that want to tune in, we hope you'll check that out, and we'll answer some questions there for you. And we're going to be doing that every week on Saturday nights at 7 p.m. So we had a great hangout today. I really appreciate you guys taking part and helping us answer questions and showing us your wonderful modeling projects. Hopefully we'll see you back here next week at 2 o'clock Central USA time again. That'll be our regular Hangout broadcast every week here from Sci-Fi Model Action. So that's going to be a wrap for this one today, guys. Thanks for coming, and we'll see you next week. Until we see you then, everybody, good night, John Boy.
Night.
Good night, John Boy.